Ready to start your journey? Whether it's your first workout or you are a seasoned athlete, Endurance for Everyone Coaching wants to work with you. Our coaching team has worked with athletes from beginners to USAT national qualifiers and are comprised of experienced runners, cyclists, and triathletes who have a passion for healthy living and have been where you are. We offer comprehensive coaching programs from weekly support to basic consultation, all designed to help you achieve your goals. If you want to take your performance to the next level, look no further than Endurance for Everyone Coaching. Go to www.teamE4E.com and click on the coaching link or send an email to teamE4E@enduranceforeveryone.com. And let's get started.
Welcome to this week's Endurance for Everyone podcast.
The following program is for entertainment purposes only. Though the hosts of this show are certified Ironman coaches, their attempts at long-course triathlons and endurance events should not be taken as an endorsement for you to do something stupid too. You should make your own bad decisions, then podcast about it. Now, let's start the show.
Hey, this is John Harris.
And this is Rob Bozovich.
And Endurance is for Everyone, and this is the Endurance for Everyone podcast. This is episode 113, Rob, and it seems like we just did this, doesn't it?
It's been a long time since, John, it's like deja vu since it's like, 12 hours ago?
Yeah. See, everybody that's listening to this is actually going to hear this next Monday, but we recorded last night with Peter and Brian from How Was Your Run Today. Nice conversation, wasn't it? I liked it.
I thought it was, and I guess two things. I already got to correct myself. I said 12 hours. That'd be 24 hours.
Yeah.
First off,
that's right.
Math. But anyways, yeah, and I thought it was a great conversation, and it was a different type of podcast, and that's what we put it right up front there, saying, hey, this is like kind of like a round robin, because it wasn't quite us interviewing them, and it wasn't quite them interviewing us. We had a little pre-roll conversation with them, and some jokes and some fun, building a little rapport. Yeah. But we didn't talk to them real long. We really didn't lay out a show like, hey, we want to ask this, say this, do this. And, we have our flows that we normally do. They have theirs, and they kind of overlap, not completely. But it was just neat to get on with some others that are, seasoned veterans in this arena, and in both in podcasting and in running and so forth as well. And just and I would say their show is similar in nature to Pete and Gretchen's, with the fact more like, I don't want to say a lifestyle, because theirs is 99% running and running related stuff, and authors and artists and so forth, but they're not digging deep into the data and the splits and the terminology, and it's more fun and upbeat, and that was just neat to sit down and have that conversation with them, and they were gracious with their time in order to do so.
Yeah, very, very personable, very, very much like they come across on their show and on the videos. We actually got in a conversation really fast with them, I thought.
Yeah.
So it's like kindred spirits, I'll call it. We're kind of the same in a lot of ways. So
which completely random straight up plug, I'll even say it that way. You say kindred spirits. Yeah. One of my favorite shirts that I like to wear is Kindred Cycles. It's a bicycle shop down in Pittsburgh. I just when you say, that's exactly what they're taking off on, but it's it's a cool atmosphere when you walk in there, and I feel that, I don't know, I gravitate towards people like that, and when I say like that, like Brian and Peter we talked to last night, we're all in this to have some fun, crack some jokes, and enjoy the whole process,
and not take ourselves too seriously. That's
yes.
when I start losing my love of it. It's when I start taking myself too seriously sometimes, and I have to kind of pull back. Sometimes I do a lot of I do a lot of outward on the show and talking to people of self-deprecation and stuff like that. But, inward, I'm very, I'm more intense inside my head than I let it be known. Let's put it that way. Yeah. I'll joke that finishing last, who cares? Finishing last gripes at me all the time. I hate it. But it is what it is. That's just me being honest. I'll pretend like it doesn't bother me, but it bothers me. Especially when I know I've done the work,
Right.
That's if I haven't done the work and I know I'm not ready for it, like the one DNF I had at Disney marathon, I knew I didn't do the work. So when I DNF'd that race, okay, yeah, I deserved that.
Yeah.
So it didn't upset me that much. But when you've put in the work and it still doesn't bear fruit, I'll say, it can get to you mentally, and you have to really kind of pull back and realize, okay, so it's a marathon, not a sprint, and so you have one bad race doesn't mean you're going to have 10 bad races in a row. And I had, as you know, I've had a couple bad years until last October where I've been getting better again.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I went through a little period there where it was getting bad.
Yeah. Gonna have your ups, you're gonna have your downs.
Right.
And usually it's more cyclical, almost like to seasons or weeks or months. But it's not to say you won't have it, like you had said, years where, where it's down, but then all of a sudden you turn a corner, everything starts working again. So,
well,
the point is it can't last, good or bad, it won't last forever.
Well, and you have to remind yourself of the realism is that, I can tell you, I've been gaining weight and I don't know why I'm gaining weight. And, I'm starting to feel some pains again because of that. It's the pains that I had at 270 are here again because I'm at 270. Actually went under 270 today, so I'm losing again. But as was pointed out, last year was a rough year for me. Not only was I injured, but other personal issues were going on there that takes its toll on you mentally. And as much as you say running helps, it's still stress is going to affect you whether you think it is or not. And I was talking to Nancy the other day and she noticed that I have headaches. I wake up with headaches at least 4 days a week. Yeah. And it's getting problematic now. I need to figure out what's going on. But she was looking at me. We did a little trail training run for the race Saturday. We did one Sunday just to get, kind of get out there. And she notices that I sit and my shoulders are bunched up on my ears all the time. Mm-hmm. And I don't even realize I'm doing it. She goes, there's part of your problem right there. You're always tense. You're always like this. You gotta physically kind of, get that relax, and I didn't even realize I would
make the joke and say that you need a fill in the blank prescription drug here, but I don't know which prescription drug or the relaxer. So, just try them all.
Yeah, just try one of each. But that's when it's good to have somebody around you that kind of picks up on that stuff. You say you're not stressed, but your whole body language is that.
Right.
So, usually there's a reason. There's a reason why you gain weight. There's a reason why you're slowing down. There's a reason for everything. So, sometimes you have to take back and kind of figure it out. And, as an analyst, we call it getting to the root cause, kind of pick at it until you get down to the root and figure it out, and
dig deep, John,
which I was doing all day today. I so love financial reporting. So
did you hear that, John? That was the sound of everybody saying, I ain't listening to this, and clicked right off.
I'm not going to talk about financial reporting, but that's what I did all day today. It's like, oh my God.
More productive day than I.
Yeah. All right. But, so last night was a good show. This one will post actually next week. So when this one posts, actually, that race will be done for me and you'll be heading into New York City. So.
Yeah. I'll be a few days out from it. When this posts, it'll be the Monday. That Friday we're heading to New York. So
yeah.
Be fun.
Boy, that came up quick. That kind of snuck up on me.
Yeah.
You mentioned it the other day. I said, wow, is that only a couple weeks away? And I looked at it and said, holy crap. That's like this weekend.
See, my training peaks is slightly different than, excuse me, didn't mean cough there. Mm-hmm. My training peaks is slightly different than yours. And it gives me the countdown, right when you go in on the front screen, it says X amount of days or X amount of weeks until your next event. And obviously that's my next event upcoming. So
right in front of you all the time,
Yeah. Hey, John, can we take a pause for 1 sec?
Yep. What happened there?
Oh, sorry about that. Yeah, as much as you like to tell people that I'm your perfect little athlete, like you told Brian and Peter last night.
I don't think I used the word little.
Oh, yeah, true. Yes. Okay. You're correct. Sorry, John. I want to be in the worst way.
I would not demean you like that.
Oh, thank you. I've had a little bit of two issues that I don't want to man up to, and that what just happened was a little bit of a coughing fit, and I have been hesitant. I'm like your typical, I will say typical, maybe I'm just stupid, guy in the, if it hurts, maybe I'll give it a day. No, I'll give it a week. Yeah, maybe I'll give it 2 weeks and see if it goes away. And I've had this little bit of a cough that is, when I say persistent, I might need to go get it looked at. And go for a run, no problem, whatever, But if I'm talking and or like transition from if I say inside to outside or vice versa, that just the hot to cold, cold to hot, I'll throw 2 or 3 coughs out, like just little, like kind of short of breath, like a little catch in the back of my throat. And that one got a little bad. The other thing, which, I'm only training for a running race, so I'm not as concerned, but it does really concern me. For a week now, I've had shoulder issues. And when I say I heard people describe it, and people have said, well, try this, try that, put your arms this way, turn it this way. And some people say, you got a torn rotator cuff. And some people say, no, this is fine, so you don't. Like one person told me to put my arms kind of like a chicken, like you do, put your arms in your armpits like little wings. And then if somebody can push your elbows down, that's what it, and that one, I have absolutely no problem. And I helped somebody move a couch on Sunday, which, I missed my run on Sunday. It was like adulting part 2, and we could talk about that. But, sore shoulder, and tongue twister. And, I helped somebody move a couch, and I have no problem with that. But literally, like I reached from the front seat to the back, went to pick up. When I say a gallon of water, it wasn't even full. It was like about a quarter full. And when I picked it up about halfway, I couldn't lift it over the seat. My arm hurt. My shoulder hurt so bad. But like I said, it's like I'm like a guy, and or like when you take your car, you can have a problem for a month, but the day you schedule a mechanic, it magically goes away. I've had that issue now for a week and a half, and finally I said, all right, I'll make an appointment, and wake up this morning and it's like 95% better. Like it just magically disappeared overnight. So that's good. I'm happy with that one. The little bit of a cough though is concerning. I might need to get that one looked at.
Well, I would get them both looked at. And so I would say still go to the doctor. Don't cancel the appointment just because it doesn't hurt anymore.
True.
And the second thing I would ask is that all these people telling you like how to do it and whether it's a torn rotator cuff and stuff, I assume they're all doctors, right?
No, yes and no. 2 physical therapists and 3 people,
all right. Okay,
and 3 people that have had rotator cuff surgery. This is what the doctor, how they diagnose them.
Okay, yeah. Okay.
So everybody with it's not just like WebMD.
Yeah, okay, because I was gonna get you on that one. Yeah, and it's but you know what, I do that too. If someone comes to me and say, my knee's hurting a little bit here, and I'll ask, well, where is it hurting at? Like I'm a freaking doctor, I know how my issue was and how others I've seen have that issue, what that means. But, it's very easy to say, well, my buddy had it and he said it's this, so I should be okay. And, things like that. I'm having a hip issue right now. I think I told you about this, right?
A little bit last night. Yeah, we started.
Was it on the show or was it before? I
don't recall, but I can't go through it again. Well, if it was on last week's show, just hit the fast forward button like 3 times. You're good to go.
Yeah, hit 30 seconds. Right in the hip, where it kind of the ball when it goes from your leg up to your ass. It's sore right there, and when I cross my leg, and kind of push my leg down, it hurts. Now I have had a couple people say, well, that's they had that too, and it turned out to be bursitis. So, okay, well, it's come out of the blue. So I don't know. I've never had bursitis there before in my life. I'll take bursitis over a hip issue any day.
Right.
But I am old. I got some
older.
Well, I've got some miles on me. I hope it's not, but It's not stopping me from doing anything. I'll tell you that. And it tends to hurt more after like a trail run, where you're kind of like, you're
jostling around.
Yeah. You're jostling around a little bit more. So, of course, after Sunday, we did like 4 or 5 miles, on the trail. Yeah. It hurt the next day, that night and the next day I felt it.
Yeah.
So it's, I'm sure it's something, but, but like you said, how long do you wait before you go get it checked?
Yeah. And that's why mine, I woke up a couple Fridays ago and it hurt, but that's when I say that's it. I woke up. I didn't fall. I didn't move anything.
Yeah.
I wasn't, I'm not lifting weights. I didn't wreck a car, a bicycle, like absolutely nothing. Regular all week, wake up for Friday morning, and I'm like, oh my gosh, what's happening? So it's just, I don't think I could have torn it just sleeping, but you never know. And so that's why, I didn't want to believe it was that, or if I have to go get it checked out, I will. But that was 2 days before that triathlon. And I know every muscle's work something different and so forth. But, I then went and swimming full rotation, absolutely no problem. Okay. It was a very limited hitch in the middle, like trying to pick things up, almost like if you were doing, I want to say flies, picking your arm straight up to the side. But every other rotation motion was fine. Okay. So I don't know. Like I said, now that's kind of phased out. And if the cough, I might get looked at here if it persists another day or two. So
yeah, and it's just,
we'll see.
Well, yeah, and you had strep throat recently, and even with a cold, I don't know how you are, but I know if I get a really bad cold, the cough is the last thing to go. I'll be perfectly fine, but I'll still be coughing weeks after I'm fine.
Yeah. I don't really get much of a cough, but when I was a kid, when I was in high school, I'd come off of wrestling and was into the next thing, but I'd come from massive amount of working out down to lesser working out, if this makes sense. That's how the doctor described it as well, because I started with this little bit of a cough like I have right now, but then it continued to get worse to where it was every 3 minutes, 2 minutes I was coughing. This is now once every 20 minutes, half hour, or if I'm, like I said, in and out somewhere. Right. And what I ended up getting diagnosed with then was bronchitis and bronchial asthma. They actually give me like a little inhaler, not forever, but just for like a few weeks just to, clear it up. And they had said, which plays right into what's could be happening now, is a way to look at it. I was working out a lot, and then when I stopped working out, basically my body was staying ahead of it because I was working out. But once I had the decrease in the physical activity, it was able to set in. If you look at it the same way, I've been running a lot, and then when I take a week off from running because I was sick, it might have set in a little bit, and I might just still be out on the leading edge of that, right? So gotcha. If it persists another week, I will go get it looked at, but that's about it. So,
well, if it persists another week,
it's all more of a commitment you're getting out of me.
Yeah, if it persists another week, though, you're going to be 2 days away from New York City, 3 days away.
That's true. But it doesn't hurt. It doesn't affect me when I'm running. So
yeah, okay. Well, I mean, just keep that.
The Monday following New York. How's that, John?
There you go.
Deal.
Gotcha. See if you can get through New York, and if it's still there after New York, then get it checked.
Will do.
Yeah. So you listen to me. Do as I say, not as I do. Right.
Yes, sir. Thanks, Dad.
You don't have to call me sir. I'm old enough to be your dad. That's the scary thing.
All the extra wisdom you have, John.
How old are you? You're 34, right?
Yes, sir.
I have a 31-year-old son, so,
Right in the same ballpark.
Right in the same ballpark. You're grounded, mister.
Oh. Send me to my room without my computer. You're on your own then, John.
Go to your room. No, you can take your computer.
I've seen the TV.
Only for work.
I remember I saw a TV show or a movie or something, and the parents said to a kid, go to your room. And then they sat there for a second, and the kid realized the kid had video game, computer, TV, all. They said, no, never mind. You got stuff in your room. Go to my room.
Go to my room. There's not even a TV in there. Oh, man. Yeah, that's true. It's like, well, even in my day, I mean, go to my room. Hell, that's where my stereo was. That's where my guitars were. That's where everything was. So, Yeah, send me my room. I'm fine.
I was a child of the 80s, but that being said, there were still only 2 televisions in the house, and we were only allowed to watch one of them. We were only allowed to watch TV with whatever my parents had on. So I'm like one of them like 6-year-olds watching like Dateline or whatever. Like, oh yay! So yeah.
Oh no, we had one TV, but it was a little like 13-inch black and white, and then we had to change the channels with the vice grips. And and we got my little brother had to stand there holding the antenna sometimes. So yeah, Monday nights were Gunsmoke nights with my dad. You had to watch Gunsmoke. You had to watch. You probably never saw Gunsmoke, but Gunsmoke and High Chaparral and Bonanza on Sunday nights, and every Western that was on, we had to watch. So that was growing up in my house, and then listen to Jim Reeves and Marty Robbins records.
I don't know who those are.
You don't even know who they are, but everybody my age knows who they are. They're old style country western singers, country and western singers, not country singers, country western singers. The scary thing is that me and my sister and brother can still sing those songs. Jesse James by Marty Robbins. We all know the words to it because we heard them constantly.
There was always your dad seemed to have that one cassette for you. It may have been 8-track. I'm not sure.
No, it was albums.
Oh, okay. I was going to say in the car.
Oh, in the car was 8-tracks. It was 8-track.
I know all the Johnny Cash and Harry Chapin songs for that reason. So,
but Johnny Cash is cool. I listen to Johnny Cash.
Yeah, but whenever you're like 7, you don't know that.
Oh no! When I was even as a kid, I liked Johnny Cash. Johnny Cash was cool to me. Even as a guy that liked rock music, and heavy metal, I liked Johnny Cash. He just seemed cool to me. I still do. I still listen to Johnny Cash. So there were things that I had people I would listen to still, and I think in a way, I mean we're way off topic here, but in a way, hearing all that stuff gave me an appreciation for it, even if I didn't like it. I understood it. Like Hank Williams Sr. I understood. And I appreciated it. I didn't like it. I don't like twangy stuff like that, but country music is not the same anymore. So, country music now is like Southern rock was when I was a kid. Yeah. That's Southern rock. That's Skynyrd and Molly Hatchet and Blackfoot and, people like Marshall Tucker and Marshall Tucker Band and people like that. But anyway, you're going to get me talking about music, and I can go an hour on that. If you remember the old shows with Andrew, we could talk about music.
We could talk about nothing for an hour. Settle in. Enjoy your run, folks.
There you go. So we talked about last night a little bit about the Damn Try coming up.
We did.
And, and actually did discuss a little bit about I think it was Brian asked us about destination races, right?
Right.
Yeah. So, and then I started, I've been thinking about that all day, and it's just, God, I'd be dangerous if I had money. That's the one thing,
I think we all would.
Well, I mean, people that have always, and I'm not even talking about wealthy people. I'm talking about people that just don't have to worry about money and have never really had to. It's a different mindset, So when, there's races I would do. I mean, all the ones that I want on my, on my radar or have on my radar are all destination races right now. So I have Damn Try at the end of June in Pennsylvania, Runner's World in October in Pennsylvania, Millinocket in Maine in December. So it's all, there's nothing close, and I just can't.
There are local ones. You just choosing not to do them.
Well, but what's the? Yeah, there are local ones. Of course, there's going to be a lot of them in Florida, but I kind of want to do these. I want to do Millinocket.
I think as athletes, we all. I don't want to say mature, but we all go through it. I should say swings, and I won't definitively say that this is the process and this is what everyone goes through in the same manner, but you go through swings where that first year you're in it, you start by doing 1 or 2 kind of a goal, and then as you're training or you're getting better, maybe that first 12 to 24 months, you start kind of like crack. You get into all of them. Every single there's a five.
Yeah.
You're into every single 5K and 10K, and you're jumping into all of these things. And you're traveling a half hour, 2 hours, whatever the distance is. And if it's within that time frame, I'm doing races Saturday and Sunday, and jumping into everything. And then it comes down to, I think you like you said, you start getting into something at some point more of the either. You find your niche, and I really like this distance. I really like street. I like trail. I like triathlon or whatever it is. And you might focus in on some of those and trying to improve and get your personal best or, so forth. And then another season of racing is, I want to say, the destination, where you start saying, I'm going to do this, but I'm only going to do it if I'm doing it somewhere else and somewhere new. You know what I mean?
Right.
I'm going to new city to do this, or I'm going, new city, a new venue, something. That being said, there are, I'm going to say, anomalies. I'm not saying that in a bad way. There are some people that only ever do the same race. I know a couple folk that only do Marine Corps Marathon, which is fantastic, but it's also different. They have 5 or 6 family members. They go down and do it, and they do it every single year. I've never had that drive, so I'm not saying I don't get it. Everyone likes something different, but I'm kind of where you are, to the point where I like the destination, and that's why it is an anomaly for me to be going to do Pittsburgh again. And I was a little excited to maybe go do Waco because it's somewhere different, it's somewhere new, and that's, I'm putting in all the time and energy. I want to, kind of cross a state off the list, But then too, like I said, I've done the damn try every year. It's not, when I say it's not necessarily a destination for me, it's a little travel. It's 2.5 hours away from me, but it was my first one. I've done it 9 out of 10 years. I will. This year will be the 10th year, and I'll have done it 9 out of 10. So it's kind of like my little tradition.
Yeah, that becomes a tradition race then. It's kind of like people who do Disney that are local Floridians. But you're talking about 2 hours. I mean, well, that's Disney for me. That's a couple hours away, so.
Yeah.
When I talk destination, I'm talking about like there's a significant money output to do this, other than just the race fee. Damn try for one, because it's a triathlon and I'm going to do this. That, either I'm going to have to ship my bike up there or I'm going to have to drive it.
Yeah.
And knowing me, I'm going to drive it. So, just because I like, I like to drive, and I don't mind driving like that. But Millinocket, that's Maine. I'm not driving to Maine. So, so that's, I'm already looking at, prices and stuff like that. It's not that expensive. But if I'm going to go to Maine, I'm not going to go there for the race and turn around and come home. I'm going to spend a few days up there.
Right.
The other thing I wanted to do this year that I've been wanting to do for a while is Training Peaks University, which is, coaches get together, and Training Peaks actually puts this out, and they teach you how to really use the software, how to get the most out of it with your clients, and even for yourself as an athlete. And of course, they're all over the place. I mean, they're in Spain and things like that, but there's one in Orlando, and the weekend it's in Orlando is Millinocket.
Yeah,
it's the same weekend. Of course it is, right? So if I do Training Peaks University, the closest one would be in August in Colorado Springs. So there's another destination, right? Yeah. So, I mean, it just keeps, at some point you need to start saying, well, like, okay, I'm not going to do Runner's World. That's going to have to go out, even though I want to do it. Millinocket's on the schedule. I'm going to do that somehow, some way.
Was this your official announcement of axing Runner's World, or you're saying that it might have to go to do other things?
Right, I'm saying it might have to go unless I, come into lots of money all of a sudden. But that's one that's got to, that's the one that's the outlier right now. Because the two that are on the schedule that are going to happen is Damn Try and Millinocket. So that's June and December. So that gives me three upcoming, basically after this weekend's race, 3 races. So, talk about St. Anthony's triathlon, Damn Try, and then Millinocket. And I want to do go ahead.
I would say, if it was up to me, John, I would say that you should do Damn Try and Runner's World Festival, So I'd like to go to Runners World Festival, meet you there, and have a group and all that type of stuff, and then hit Training Peaks University. That's right down the road from you. Millinocket will be there next year.
Yeah, but I want to do. I have to do Millinocket. There's just some. I mean,
I don't know if I can do Millinocket this year. So maybe next year.
So this is
see. Jet. I've not seen the movie, but I hear the Jedi have some sort of mind trick.
Yeah, they do. This is not the race you seek. So, that's right. You've never seen Star Wars, right?
Nope.
That's
probably should.
That's blasphemous, man. I don't know how you did that. But even with the and if you guys haven't seen the Millinocket video that How Was Your Run Today put out on YouTube, go look for it.
Correction. They were the subjects of it.
Yeah,
it was put out by their friend, which has his own YouTube channel, Running with Cameras. But if you just put in Millinocket and put in their names, Brian Gould, Peter Villa, into YouTube, it'll come up. And there is a second video. I don't know if you saw that one, John, or not, with their what they call the Crankle 2K. Did you watch that one or no?
I saw it, but I haven't watched it.
Okay, I did. So what it is when I say they screw around, if you listen to the episode and you know that they're pretty funny guys, Crankle is cranky ankle, and that that was one of the running problems they were having. So that was something they interject in their show frequently. And they were going up to the first time they were going up to Millinocket, they were messing around saying they were going to hold their own little race of theirs, which is kind of like an unofficial something. And they're talking about it on the air, and they say 5K is just too long. How's about a 2K? I've never heard of anyone do a 2K. So they do this, almost like I don't even know if it was really that correct distance, but they just kind of went outside and ran the night before the marathon in the middle of the street. And from one year to the next, I forget, they had maybe 18 people that did it the first year, and then almost 100 and some people that did it the next year. Completely and if you watch the video, you'll hear it. They're uninsured, unsanctioned, everything. But the point was, and once again, the whole point of everything that they're doing in Millinocket was to raise funds for the town. So they had, I'm using air quotes, an entry fee or donation. All of it then they donated to the Millinocket Public Library.
Yeah,
so
I think cool. That's outstanding. That's
outstanding. And I think they raised up to or over $1,000, I believe, for it too. So worked out well for them.
Which goes a long way for a library. It doesn't like in the big scheme of things, $1,000 doesn't sound like a lot. But libraries, because they can get books from specific places very, very inexpensively. Is that a word?
Sure.
$1,000 goes a long way for a library, especially a small town library, because they can get grants and stuff like that. That was actually not to get political. That was one of Michelle Obama's thing, was to do that kind of stuff. So, and I think it's still out there. I assume so. But that's,
And to bring it back around to fitness, just so it's not completely aside, which is really not. Whenever I started listening to Vinny and Anna, a lot of the books that they would recommend, I actually went to our public library and checked them out. Got them, or the libraries have they lend between libraries, so it may take a few weeks to get in. But if you guys hear us talking about books, or if that, most people tend to forget that. You can go to the library and check them out, and some of the libraries will actually have e-copies, if you can check them out electronically, and or our local library actually has an app. I shouldn't say that. I believe it's a national app, but they are tied into it, and you can get audiobooks for free as well. So if you once again, Audible, but don't want to pay $10, $20 a month, you can, just literally go to the library. If you get a library card and it has a number on it, you enter it, and you can get the books and or check them out, audiobooks, and then listen to them on your run or a drive or whatever.
And also remember, Kindle users can share books with each other as well for 2 weeks. So if I have, say, if you have a Kindle, Rob, or a Kindle app on your phone or whatever you have, and I have a book that's shareable, like say, I don't know, Good Calorie, Bad Calorie, I can actually give it to you for 2 weeks, and then you'll have access to it for 2 weeks, and then it comes back to me.
I did not know that.
You can do that. Yes, it's I can't remember what it's called. And Kindle also has Kindle Unlimited now if you have Prime. So Amazon Prime, you can do that too. So, there's a lot of ways to get books without having to spend, $20-30, for the book.
Right.
So, and I don't know, but you know what? A lot of those training books, I know how I am. I like to write in them, make notes. So,
I'm not saying I'd check a training book out, but some of the stuff I checked out, like you had said, good calories, bad calories, the Gary Taubes book. But that's the old one. The new one is Why We Get Fat and What to Do About It. And the new, heck, it's probably 8 years old at this point. That one you can get Grain Brain, Wheat Belly. I forget. I'd read or checked out at least a dozen as I was going through it. And. They either have them or can get them in. Like sometimes it's funny. They'll tell you, oh, this one's coming from Pittsburgh. This one's coming from Philly, and they'll get it on like a 1 month lend. So, they'll actually tell you, hey, you need it back by blank. Cause they actually have to ship it back in a certain, time frame. So.
Yeah. Tampa has a pretty good Hillsborough County or Tampa has a pretty good library system as well. When it comes to that, there are a lot of books out there and you only have to wait. Unless it's like a new book that everybody wants, like when the Harry Potter books came out, you'd be waiting for months. But if you don't want to buy them, but a couple days, maybe 2-3 days, and it's going to come in. Yeah. And there's libraries everywhere in Hillsborough. So there's one like a mile and a half from where I'm at right now. So they're all over the place. I've gone to the library sometimes on days I'm bored and just sit there and read magazines. Just to get out of the house, or if there's a something that we're gonna talk about, for example, I'll go, instead of going buying Psychology Today, but I know they talked about it, I'll just go there and grab it and make my notes and things like that. So there's always ways to get books.
Well, the listeners appreciate it, John.
Yeah, I'm sure they do. Was that sarcastic?
If it didn't come through as such, then no.
No, it's totally serious.
Well, John, you never know. I never say anything completely serious nor completely sarcastically. I do know that people do like that whenever we have the correct information and will call us out if it's not. So I do know there are some people that very much do appreciate it, and some people are going to take whatever you say for gospel. So we'll just leave it at that.
Nobody takes what I say for gospel.
Be surprised.
I get double checked all the damn time. But that's why I have to stay on my toes. No.
Trail
toes, as I said yesterday. We should get money for that too, right? Or last week.
Just keep giving it away, John.
I know.
Well, when people are listening to this, it's last week. Yeah. Gotta keep in mind we're talking in the future.
We're talking in the future. So
right.
What else do we want?
Back on topic.
Yeah.
Well, I was going to say we had a couple things to go over. I should say that I wrote down a list, my own little thing here, and that is I don't know if it'll be the show following this show that we'll put it out there, but we were talking about the Dam Try, and we said we were going to get a race director on, and we've had to reschedule a few times, but by the time this posts, otherwise you're editing this section out, I should have sat down with Chris, the director of the Dam Try, and so I have some info. So I'm hoping to be a nice interview on what's it take. I've been a race director now for a number of years for a 5K, but never been one for a triathlon. Want to hear what goes into it and getting it set up, also what it benefits and so forth. And then I, as an athlete, have some questions for him about course changes through the years and so forth. So everyone can, feel free or feel free to be so excited over that upcoming. And you and I were going to sit down together, but that was unable to come together based on his timing and yours. But there's one thing I want to make sure whenever I tell Chris that, I have my, when I say my co-host, I guess I'm your co-host on, but when I say that the man is coming up from Florida, that's you. Are you still coming up for it, John, then? I mean, cause you were just talking.
It's on my calendar. It's on my calendar. So I'm planning to come up. Yes.
Good.
And you know how to make sure I get up there, right?
The free donuts. Tell you there's a Tim Hortons half a mile from the start.
No. No, pay for the entry. No, I don't mean you pay for it. I mean, if I pay for an entry, I'll be there. Oh. If it's set, I'll be there somehow. I'm going to get there. That's how to make sure.
He's coming. But then I figure what we'll do either probably in that episode, you and I we're talking about it. Maybe at that point we'll do a little bit of it's a course description, a little bit of a turn by turn. I'm not sure if I'll get into it completely with Chris or you and I. So that's something that's upcoming, and we don't want to delve too deeply into that show after show after show and have 6 of them regarding triathlon in one specific race. But I figure it'd be good if anyone's local or interested in coming up to it, they'll get to hear about it behind the scenes and then a little bit of what goes on as the athlete and so forth. But that's where the other thing I wanted to get into before we really, I should say, and this is completely selfish, but when I say, this is where if I was the host, the main host, I'd say it's my show and I can do what I want, but it's kind of half my show and I'm talking now.
You're still going to do what you want, so that's fine.
I'm still going to do it. And I would like you, as my coach, to coach me a little bit. And at this point, as you had just said for you, if I sign up for it, I'm going to it. I haven't signed up yet. I'm definitely going to do it. But and I was talking to my friend, my brother-in-law, who I can't beat, I should say, and I would like to outright beat him because part of the discussion was, hey, what race? I'm asking him, what race are you doing? He's like, I think I'm doing this one. I don't know why. Which one are you doing? And I said, well, that's partially dependent on, we're kind of like looking. I want to go opposite of him because I like going head to head with him. But for the last year or two, I've been in a different age group, so it didn't matter. But now we're back in the same age group. And if I want a nationals qualifying bid, I need to come in first in my age group. But if I know I can't beat him because the way nationals goes, even if he's pulled – it sounds weird to say it, people listen – I could still take first in my age group if he takes, let's say, first, second, or third overall in the race because they pull them out of the data and he gets first, second, or third overall. So I could get an age group medal taking first, but for USAT, they put him back into the age group. Now I'm second in the age group, and then I cannot get my bid. But he had graciously said he's kind of willing to either maybe forego the race, which I want as many people to do it as possible, or he would potentially go the opposite. What would you think? Where would you coach me and take the next few minutes and do so? Sprint versus Olympic. I mean, what should I do? What do you think would be my best to qualify, and kind of like an exercise for our listeners here, if they sit down and if they're debating similar things, you know what I mean, for whether it's triathlon or whether it's other racing and race selection is really kind of what it comes into. What do you think?
Yeah. Well, let's say here, I know what your abilities are, so I think you actually have a good shot either way. And
I'd like to say I'll be the pessimist. Mm-hmm. I know what my limitations are as well.
Right. Well, right. You say that the run is your weakest sport.
And when I say that's backed by data, every race shows that. Maybe not so much, and I don't want to say these little local races. There's not so much of a spread when I say these little ones, but when I went and did nationals, I mean, top third swim, top third bike, last third on the run. And when I say it that way, you look at the field, it's whatever the time was, and I want to make it up, and forgive me if it's not perfect, you have a lot of people that are 36 to 38 minutes, 10K, and then there I am at 46 minutes, which doesn't seem like a big gap until you realize that takes me on the running portion, from top third to bottom third. And
that's a big drop. Yeah.
That's significant of a difference. Yeah.
And so in the past, since you've done this race a few times, what is the field? How do you fit in the field overall in the sprint or the Olympic? You know what I mean?
I've only done the Olympic once.
Okay.
And it's not a completely good indicator because it was my second year in triathlon. B, I was significantly heavier when I did it. C, it was an unusually hot and humid year. And using this race is why I have to, if I'm looking at Olympics that I've done and I have to throw it out as an outlier, in recent years, New York City and nationals and so forth, I'm about a 220 or so on an Olympic, time wise. Yeah. That race was 3 hours. And it was so I mean, a significantly different data set to where I just have to throw it out completely.
Yeah, that's a big difference. Yeah. And what's your fastest sprint right now?
Fastest sprint, 107, 108.
Yeah. I was wondering if you broke an hour.
No.
So now, see, I'm asking you for data that you probably don't have at your fingertips, but the person that finished first in the sprint, do you know what their time was last year?
I don't want my computer to crap out.
Can you
give me 5 seconds?
Yeah.
I can get you the exacts. I mean, all of those are online and just have to. You're saying you went 2017. Oh, what is it? Command F whenever I'm on this.
Yeah. Or Control F if you're on a Windows machine.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm trying to see. I'm talking while you're doing that. I want to see if
the person who won it last year, who won the race. Now I'm gonna actually back out and go results by age group. Okay.
Yeah. That's what I want to see.
Because it'll give me both the 3 overall winners, first, second, third for men. 55 minutes, 105, 106.
Okay.
The age group that I will be in respectively then is 108, 111, 129, first, second, and third.
So
said, the reason why I say that is none of the winners last year were none of the 1, 2, or 3 would have been in my age group. It doesn't appear that my brother-in-law did it last year. He is about a 105.
Okay. Well, I mean, you're right there then in the sprint.
Yes.
So
when I got my I had gotten a national qualifying from this race.
Yeah.
But every year can be different.
Right. Yeah. I mean, yeah, you're sitting here saying, okay, well, yeah, you don't know. I mean, the fastest person in the world could show up this year and you still don't have a shot. But if you're fast as a 107 and you could probably do even faster, I think. But I think too much of you, Rob.
Thank you. I appreciate
I think you probably are closer to the 10. Yeah, I think it's probably even closer to 1 hour. Who won? And now, are you still on the page? Can you see who won the Ollie? The Olympic
Ollie.
Yeah. I
can go back to that. Sorry. Yeah. Now, I had jumped back the year previous so I was looking at 2017. I was unable to do it last year. Yeah. I did go back to 2016. Mm-hmm. Once again, the winners were 57, 58, 102. None of them in my age group. I won my age group with a 112.53.
Right.
Once again, though, my brother-in-law was a 108. He was second in the age group. The winner was a 106. Now the winner was age 39, so he will have aged out of that class here now 2 years later. My brother-in-law would still be in it, but my 112 would put me at third based on 2 years ago in that age group.
Okay.
Now you're saying Olympic. I'm just going to stay on 2016, and you're saying order by age group, and my age group, a 226 was the winner, with 229 being the second place.
Okay, and your fastest time is 6 minutes faster than that.
On a flat course.
Yeah, I know, but I'm kind of going best case scenario here, of course, but
yeah,
your fastest time is a good 6 minutes faster than that. So I think, and like I said, I guess at the beginning, I think you do well in either one. The only caveat in here is that you're still in the middle of the other training. So
true
for Chicago.
And that being said, the other two things to look at. Well, maybe I went to 2017 results, and the age group was a 224 and a 228, first and second.
You're still faster.
Second doesn't matter because there's not enough people that they're going to take two. So
right.
224 doesn't,
So your potential is there to win those two. I mean, you have the potential to win that based on your past results. My only My only, it's not really concern. My only point would be is that because you're training for a marathon, you're not really working on triathlon right at the moment. So I
Right
guess
now,
after,
once again too, coach me.
Mhm.
If my marathon training is done and or there's been a lot of speed work going into it thus far, a lot meaning once a week,
Right.
for the last 8 or 10 weeks,
Mhm.
and I'm 20 pounds lighter, and I've been putting in the volume of time and distance, two things on the plus category. And Pittsburgh Marathon is not April, I'm sorry, May, first weekend in May. So then I have all of May and 2-3 weeks of June, depending on where we go with like how I would taper. So that gives me 6 weeks to get, and just jumping back in the pool with 2 months off. I was, you saw with the, what I do, 9:50 in 15 minutes.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. We'd be hitting it hard, or we meaning you would be hitting it hard for those 6 weeks. I'm looking up something here for you.
podcasting gold. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you for catching me on it. And if anyone else found this of value, and if you didn't, sorry, but we'll return next week with our normal scheduled programming.
Yeah, damn try is like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, yeah, 6.5 weeks after Pittsburgh. Yeah, so I'd have to change that damn try to an A race. Right now I have it as a C race on your ATP. So we
Didn't even make it as a B? Darn.
well, if you ever look at your ATP, your annual training plan, it bases your training weeks off of your A races, and I didn't want to, and I was using your running races as your A races. So, and then the damn try was in the middle of it. So if we change that to an A, it's here, hold on. So so you got after Pittsburgh, you're looking at, where did I go here? Yeah, 6 weeks. And then we rebuild it. So so you'll be hitting after Pittsburgh. You'll be hitting your right into a build week, real quick. Build week 4, So yeah, you'll be hitting it hard real quick into the bike, into the swim to kind of catch up, I guess. And then back to running again, right? Right?
So what do you think, sir?
Are you there? My instinct is to do the sprint.
Okay.
But like I said,
Just because it's lesser training you think I could do get my swim and bike more in shape?
That's where my brain is going. Not that a sprint is easy, it's not, but I think it's an easier one to get up to speed fast. Up to speed, no pun intended. We can get you up to speed a little bit faster that way, I think, because we can do a lot of speed work instead of longer. And Olympics, not, you're not doing 56-mile bikes. You're it's still like what is it there, 25 for Olympic? I would assume around 40K.
I'm not on their website.
Yeah,
it's
probably a 40K, so it's about 25 miles. It's usually what the Olympic is. So it's easier to prepare you for a sprint of 12 miles than 25, because you can sprint. You can do an all-out sprint for 12 miles.
Yeah.
You can really burn, and you can get through a 5K, even doing a fast sprint. So yeah, that's where my brain goes, is to go with the sprint, just because we only have 6 weeks in between.
Alrighty, sir. That'll be it then.
Well, what are your thoughts on that? Do you agree, or do you feel like?
Well, going back out and just looking at some of the race results, and I've said this in the past to others when I'm using air quotes, coached them on what's your strongest, what's your weakest. The bike is always your longest portion of the day. Your run's your second longest then. and then then you have your swim. So let's just, and these aren't exacts, but let's say I have a 7-minute swim, a 45-minute bike, and then a, little less than a half hour, 5K tacked on, or a 25-minute 5K or whatever tacked on the end of it there. So the bike's the longest. So if I'm in shape, the swim, it is what it is. They're all decent times on that race. The bike, I would, if it's the longest, but it's also if it is my personal, if it's my second best discipline, but tied with, I should say, my swimming ability. If I have a strong swim and I can gain the mechanical advantage of the bike, leverage it for more speed. But that being said, too, is there are people in that age group throwing down 38-minute 10Ks. How hard and how long can I go on the bike before I'm just completely gassed? And then can I only do 4 miles of the 6 miles strong? And, would a 42-minute PR for myself in the 10K still let me get passed by the guy that's going to do it in 38?
Right.
Do I just take it, sprint extremely hard on the bike, and just try not to lose any lead that I would have on the 5? Yeah, basically just get to the finish line first. Obviously is the goal, but deplete the lead and just get go from there.
Yeah, and that's where I'm also thinking, because you are only running right now, you haven't even been on a bike. So, and you're not going to be on a bike for another, 10 weeks?
Yeah.
Or so, we're assuming that it's going to come back to you fast, but I think it's just going to come back to you. Excuse me. I just think we can build you up really. You're going to jump from a TSS of 5:10 after the half marathon to an 8:60 weekly TSS within the first 2 weeks going into, I'm sorry, I'm not the wrong thing here, but to an 8:60 in the second week after Pittsburgh.
And for those that don't remember what that is, that stands for training stress score, which means hard. How hard do I have to go?
Really fast. I mean, within a week. So you're not going to have a lot of downtime after Pittsburgh. So you're right back in it. And I mean, I think you can do it. Honestly, just knowing your fitness, but I just think it's going to be
too hard to go that
distance.
Much of a difference in the increase in order to perform optimally.
Yes, exactly. I think the sprint's your best option to do.
All right, that'll be what it'll be then.
All right. And then you have, then it's only 6 weeks after that is the Nationals, right?
Correct. One of two things. If I win there, then I will sign up, and the training will increase even more in volume because I will then be trying to do the Olympic and the sprint back-to-back days. And if not, if I don't qualify, then just the sprint and make my best appearance.
Yeah, and that's 7 weeks out from Chicago. So
in which case I will be in the heat of marathon training again.
Yes,
heat, both figuratively and literally.
Yeah, so we're throwing a lot of stuff right in between Pittsburgh and Chicago. You're throwing in potentially 3 triathlons in between there.
Right.
So
which and everybody wants to PR, but I will say it now, and then everybody can hold my feet to the fire. I'm really trying to PR for Pittsburgh, and I really am thinking of doing Chicago slightly more laid back. I'm not going to go out there and walk it in 7 hours, but in years past, it's been so sporadic with the heat. I just knowing that race is unpredictable, and the summer that I'm going to have, I want to do respectable, but it's not going to be it should not be a PR attempt at that point.
Yeah, and I think even trying to get a PR at that point, you're talking about Chicago, but
correct.
Yeah, I think Chicago's more of a what do I call it? An experience event.
Yes.
Yeah. Plus you get to see Pete, right?
That is the only reason I'm going.
That's the only reason. So yeah, so I mean that's my 2 cents. So I guess take it for what it's worth, right? And we'll
People,
decide.
that's why I pay him the big bucks.
Yeah. I'm rolling in it. Yeah. So I mean, obviously we'll talk more about this as we go along, in case some things happen. But yeah, my gut is telling me to stick with the sprint, and not just because you're going to beat the crap out of me in it, because I'll be doing the sprint as well. But
I thought you were talking about doing the Olympic.
no, I'm going to do the sprint.
Oh, we're going to have a lot of fun then. Now, see, I won't get the opportunity, I should say, to beat the crap out of you because you're over 40. I think it's either 40 or 45. They send under that age off first. Then 2 or 3 minutes later, they send over that age off. So there's a, I'll be. You won't
even have. You'll be done before I'm in the water.
I don't think done, but I'll be out there. I'll be turning buoys.
Yeah. Yeah, you won't have the opportunity to pass me on the course. And if I pass you, then you're in trouble.
Yeah, throw me a tube because I probably blew one out.
Yeah, I'll have something ready for you. You can just throw a tube. All right.
Thanks,
do we want to talk about anything else tonight?
No, I think that's good. We've bored the people for the last, X amount of time. If they've stuck through, we're about an hour, and then that could let them off easy here.
We'll let them off easy. All right, so that's episode 113. If you like the show, and even if you don't, we would appreciate a good review over at iTunes or at Podbean. We've gotten a few more, so kind of help us get the word out. Get some gear at Squad Locker and kind of wear it around to events. Even if you're not racing, wear them out. And we got some plans in the future for some of that stuff, and we'll share it with you when we get the opportunity. So make sure to share the show and the Facebook group, amongst your peers, people that.
I will take the opportunity to give me a minute here, and I want to make sure that I say it correctly. And that is for those folks, because I am not the most technologically advanced person in the world. I think we know this here. But Apple actually, two things. One, going way back whenever I'd said that, and I made it work, and I don't know how to do it again. I said when they changed the iTunes app, the podcast app, that it wouldn't just automatically continue to play them. Right. If you're looking at your screen, and like right now, I have several of our back shows on there, but it shows the one episode and then it says 4 more. If I click on that one, you go into the listing. If you have multiples of that show, if you click play on the first one, it will then play through multiple ones in a row. But the reason why I want to bring that up and say it is the little purple button whenever you're on one of the shows. Guys, when I say it's easy, because I've done it now a couple times in the past few weeks, you click the little purple 3-dot button. It'll bring up a menu where you can delete it, settings, play next. The last button is share. You can actually just share that show. It'll send it text message, email, share it to Facebook, and you can share it with people directly too, so that way you don't have to say, hey, go to iTunes, search for this, click here. You can share the show directly. In addition, when you're on or in one of those, if you're in that feed, if you will, if you just scroll to the bottom, and mine takes a while to load for a second, you give it a second, then you scroll again, it'll have the star rating, and it'll have our, how many stars, like 1 through 5 that you can click. Then it'll tell you how many stars the show currently has, and it'll say leave a review. You can just click the 5 stars without leaving a review, and that's giving us a 5-star ranking. The typing in and actually saying, I like the show, good guys, here's a topic, or anything else you would want to put there, that's optional, but it also helps out as well. And right. Apple has it built right into the app. You literally just have to scroll down the page and it's right there.
Yeah, that's all due to both of those things are due to people kind of complaining that it was too hard to leave a review. People couldn't find it. So it's very easy. If you go to the Podbean app, it's real easy. It's right there. So so iTunes kind of, at least Apple kind of figured that out and makes it a little bit easier now.
Right.
But in the Podbean app itself, you can also share the show. I've done it a few times actually, and leave a review right in the app as well. So it's just your preference. I mean, I actually listen to shows on both, so it depends on my mood for the day if I go to Apple or not.
Yeah.
But everything helps. So We're trying really hard to grow the show to kind of get more listeners, get more people involved in the show and getting the message out. So that's why we're going to try to bring more people on, like we did with the guys from How Was Your Run Today, and the next week with the race directors and things like that. I'm actually. And
if there's anything you guys questions you have for us, people you want us to have on, write to us. You can John at enduranceforeveryone.com, Rob at enduranceforeveryone.com. Right. Feel free, or if you're in a Facebook group, send us a message, put it out there. Yeah, anything. We're willing to talk about it. John's willing to do the research. We want to talk about things that you guys want to hear about.
Right. So with that said, this will be posting on Monday the 12th, right? And then the next week we should have a show with you from the Damn Try. If not, we will be going on as scheduled. So
yes, sir.
All right. So see you next week.
Thanks.
Thanks for listening to the Endurance for Everyone podcast. If you have comments or questions for the show, send an email to teamE4E at enduranceforeveryone.com. And remember, swim calm, bike strong, and run steady.